This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good morning everybody and welcome back to the Harts webinar series. This is the first one of the new series. I hope you all had a great summer. There's still a little bit of it left, I think. There's still a lot of people away and wanting to catch up on holidays and so on. And the weather's nice and sunny here this morning, so hopefully that's great. As usual, all these sessions are recorded and will appear on our YouTube channel later on today. If you've missed any of the previous webinars, then feel free to actually go on onto our YouTube channel, search for Harts Limited with limited spelt in full, and you'll be able to catch up on any of the sessions you missed previously. We've got a great series lined up for you with lots of stuff actually happening. And if you're not on mute, could you just mute yourself until you want to ask any questions later on? That's great. Thank you. If you've got any questions as well, put them in the chat box, and there's a speech bubble in the top right hand corner of your screen. Feel free to chuck in any questions in there, and I shall do my best to answer them. And I think we have to read out our usual disclaimer form at the beginning of all of these. Basically, the following presentation is produced for general guidance only, and professional advice should always be sought before any transaction is undertaken. Individual circumstances can vary, and therefore no responsibility can be accepted by Harts Limited or any of their affiliates for any action taken or any decision made to refrain from action by attendees of the presentation. Okay, that's the formal bit out of the way. And as always, we start off with an update. And the first thing I'd like to do is we have a stop press that accountants are not actually boring. I'm on a mission, and I've been on this mission for the last few months whenever I've been speaking elsewhere, and whether I'm writing articles, is to show that accountants are definitely not boring. And that's, over the summer, there have been a few things which have come out which have actually helped improve that situation. So one of the things which came out was that there was a survey done of 2,000 people conducted by the dating site Plenty of Fish. And that actually showed that accountants aren't actually the best kissers out there. So there's something that's actually brand new. I'm not sure whether my wife will be too pleased because lawyers came bottom of the list and she's one of those. But anyway, I didn't actually contribute to the research, but maybe that's something I can look to do for the future as well. So we're looking at for these articles which actually show that accountants are definitely not boring. Got any comments on that, Steve? Please stick them in the chat box or unmute yourself. Happy to take any comments. Moving swiftly on, we potentially have got a budget coming. Well, obviously, everyone's realised we've got a new Prime Minister, and there's going to be big changes, big announcements today as well. We'll keep you abreast of all those announcements that are coming out in the future. And also, any budget that happens, we will be providing a budget seminar and an update. Now, what normally happens is a lot of the devil is in the detail when it comes to budgets, and you often find that after 2 or 3 days, the real information comes out rather than the headline stuff. So when it actually does, we will keep you informed going forward. Making tax digital. There's been a lot of it in the press. You've probably seen it on advertisements on the television, on the radio, and so on. Sage, who sponsored the 100, have been pushing Making Tax Digital as well, as have Xero. This is the biggest change for a generation. Don't underestimate it. It is coming. And the biggest change is actually coming from April 24. Now, it sounds like it's a long way away, but in reality, if you are a sole trader or you are a landlord and you have a rental income, that's rental income, not profit, in excess of just £10,000 in any 1 year, you are covered by this Making Tax Digital. You need to change. We will be in touch. We were putting on a further webinar solely on this, but it is something to watch out for, and you will probably be affected. There is a version 2 of the recovery loan scheme out at the moment. So if you're looking to borrow funds, it's very similar to recovery loan scheme 1, which finished. It's the final piece of COVID support that we think is going to come out, but it is there. If you want to borrow, you've got the usual no personal guarantees, and your house cannot be taken if you default on the debt. So if you're thinking of taking some extra borrowing out, there is another version of the recovery loan scheme out there. It's not really been widely publicised, but it is out there at the moment. I just thought I'd let you know, because we're coming across this, or there's a new VAT registration process, which is a lot more detailed than we've had previously. You have to give a lot more personal details, apart from probably your inside leg measurement, to actually get VAT registered these days. So just bear that in mind if you're asking us to VAT register your business, or you know anybody else who wants to VAT register. It's not as straightforward as it used to be. We also have a load of other online resources. So you can follow us on Harts Limited at LinkedIn. As already mentioned, YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Harts Limited. You get copies of all the new videos which go up on there. And we have some exciting podcasts which we're going to be recording next week. So watch out for those. There are already some up there as well. So have a look on there, and there's going to be some interesting videos which we're going to be recording in the near future as well on various topics which will be relevant to you. And follow us on Twitter at Harts Accountants. This is the first in the new series of webinars that we're actually running, and the next one will be on the 29th of September. We're going to be running these every 3 weeks or so, and this one's going to be on hiring and firing staff. We've actually got a top employment lawyer, Karen Fletcher, who has set up her own practice doing just employment law, has been a partner at Shoesmiths, the national law practice, set up their employment division here in Manchester. So there is someone there who can take your questions and answers on hiring and firing. On the 20th of October, we're going to be looking at employee ownership trusts. This is becoming more and more popular as people ask employees to take on the role of running a business, and they maybe want to sell the business to the employees. What are the tax advantages in doing so? We're going to explain all that in the webinar. And on the 10th of November, we're going to be talking about giving the customer the wow experience. It's all about relationships when you're talking to your clients, your customers, and so on. And we want to share some of the issues which we've come across, which we've seen, which will help you improve that experience. And then on the 1st of December, we've already mentioned it, making tax digital, what it means to you, what it means from an operational point of view, what are the reporting requirements, how it's going to affect you. So watch out for those, put those in your diary. They're all available to book on already on our website. If you go to the events page on our website, you'll be able to book on all of those. So that's enough about the update. Let's have a look at today's topic, the 10 top tips to help you grow your business. Well, the first one is really probably 3 in 1. So effectively you're getting a bonus here, but it's actually, we put them all together. And we're looking at the key business drivers. So we're looking at what's actually going to create the most increase in business. So it's going to be increasing the number of customers that you've got, obviously, but then you could increase the number of times your customer does business with you. And then potentially you can increase the average order value of each transaction. So let's look at an example. And I'm actually going to not use that example. I'm going to actually share my screen with you, and I'm going to reshare this screen. So what you can see here is, hopefully you can all see that, is a bit of a spreadsheet. Let me just try and make that a bit bigger. Okay, and that's probably a little bit too big. Let's go back down to there. Okay, so let's look at this. So for instance, at the moment, we have 1,000 customers. This is purely an example. You might have 100, might have 10, might have 1 million. It's entirely up to you what your business does. It's not industry specific. So you've got an average number of customers of 1,000, of an average price of £100 per item, and they buy from you 4 times a year. That's going to generate turnover of £400,000 a year. Your margin, say your margin in this case is 60% for cost of sales, 40% gross margin. You've got fixed overheads of 25,000, and you make a nice profit at the end of the year of 135,000. Now, people often say, maybe I should put my prices up, but I'll always lose some customers if I put my prices up. Well, let's have a look at this and see what effect that might have. So say you put your prices up by 10%. So you've now got an average customer, sorry, I've got the wrong one there. You've actually, you put your prices up by 10%. So the average price now is go to 110. But say you say, well, what if I do that? I might lose 10% of my customers. Well, if I lose 10% of my customers, I'm down to 900 customers. They're still going to buy the same number of times a year, but actually what we've done, as you can see here on the bottom line, is we've increased our profit by nearly 15%. So in a way, it's a little bit of a myth if your business is not so price sensitive to say, well, if I increase the prices, how much will I lose? You're going to have to lose a fair amount of customers to be able to actually lose profit. Here in this example, you're going to be looking at maybe 20,000 increase in profit. So then say, well, hang on a second, what happens if we keep our prices the same and we go back to the £100? What if we actually get them to buy more than 4 times a year? What if we can get them to buy 5 times a year? Well, as you can see, that will generate profit of an extra profit of 29%, a significant £40,000 increase. So you can see you can play around with these variables, which are the key business drivers to determine what will actually happen. So it may well be, well, let's take an extreme example. Let's say, well, we can gain 20% of our new customers this year. So we're going to go up to 1,200 customers this year. We're going to reduce our prices because we think we're just going to give everybody a 5% discount at the moment. So what if we did that? But then we increase the number of times they buy from us each year. You can see that you're going to still make an increase in profit of 37%. Now, at the moment, everybody's increasing prices. We've got cost of living increases, we've got high inflation, and so on. So say your customer numbers remain the same, your average price does go up by 10%. We don't lose any customers, but we get them to buy 5 times a year. Now you can see the sort of effect that it's having there, an increase in profit of 66%. Massive increases, £90,000 increase in actual figures. And it's a question of you having a look at this and saying, well, let's play around with the key growth drivers. What is the what if effect of this happening? If you're on this call and you want a copy of this spreadsheet to play around with and put your own numbers in there, drop me an email and I'll happily send this across to you. So you're looking at various key drivers here. These are the very key ones. Now there's a whole load of psychology and theory behind what if, number of customers, what if your price, am I pricing it right? How do I get my customers to buy more often? That's all for another subject, but you need to potentially looking at how do we get our customers, what are our key drivers, what are we setting our price for? So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight as to the main key drivers that we've actually got. Let's come back to the presentation. So tip number 2, plan, plan and plan. Those of you who know me for a while will know that I harp on about doing business planning, strategic planning. This is one of the key elements of running a successful business. Many businesses don't plan, and it's now a great opportunity to actually go out there and plan the business. Plan for what you want, because if you don't, you'll carry on getting exactly the same. And if that's not what you want, then that's not going to help. So start with something simple. Think about what you want. So in 5 years' time, I want the business to be worth, say, £5 million because I want to sell the business. So to achieve this, I've got to make annual profits of 1.5 million. We're looking at an EBITDA between 3 and 4 times, fairly typical at the moment. So actually get to my profits of 1.5 million, I need to have sales of 10 million. Now, you can play around with these numbers. This is just an example. So therefore, over the next 5 years, I've got to increase my sales on average by £1 million a year. To do this, I've got to increase my customer base by 15%, increase the number of times my customer buys from me by, say, 20% and raise prices by 10%. Again, we're going back to those key drivers, but it's all putting that together in a plan. It looks simple, but it gives you a structure of how you want to proceed, and then you can work on the strategy in a bit more detail. Look at the obstacles inside and outside of the business. You might not be great in dealing with some of the obstacles that are outside the business, outside factors, but you can certainly deal with the ones internally. And what I'd like to show you is, so I move this across here, is that we actually have a service, as many of you will know about, on strategic planning, all about taking a fresh look at your business. And this will give you a lot of insight into how to plan going forward. It's all available on our website about what is a strategic plan, what are your objectives, and so on, and gives you the opportunity to certainly plan. If you want a copy of this, go to our website. It's on the front page. It's a free download, so feel free to download that. So very much all about planning. Moving on, tip number 3, applying the 80-20 rule. And now the 80-20 rule basically says that 20% of your activities generate 80% of your revenue. So do some analysis and use it to your advantage. Look at, say, who your best 5 customers are, and show the total revenue you generate from each one. Next, add this, the total revenue you could get if you generate all and you sold all your products to them, and then compare one column with the other and consider how best to allocate your marketing resources. So have a look at who's generating you the most profit. Who are your best customers? Is there anything else you could sell to them? Going back to your key drivers, could we get them to buy more stuff or buy more often from us? And then also, it's a great opportunity to sacking your pitter clients. Those are your pain in the arse clients. Have a look at which one of those they are, and always get rid of them. We've all got them. Your Harts have got them. I'm sure every business has got those clients. And it's a question of saying, well, we've got too much time, we've got too much resource, we don't need that. Let's concentrate on the ones that are actually giving us the most business and the best profit. Get testimonials. What your customers say about you is far more persuasive to a potential customer than anything else you could possibly say about yourself. I'm sure you would ask around. If you're looking to, say, move accountants, you'd ask to say, well, do you know a good accountant? So get testimonials back, because your customers are your best advocates. And then use them, put them on your website, put them on YouTube, use them on social media, include them in your marketing material. If I show you, go back to our strategic planning booklet, which you can download in here, we have got testimonials in there. There's 3 there right at the beginning, all about how wonderful this strategic planning session is and what people have actually got out of it. So use the testimonials there. We've got plenty on our website. Have a look at the website. There's lots of testimonials on there. That's one of the reasons why we do it. It's one of the reasons why we post them out on LinkedIn, and it has an effect, because you're generating the name out there, you're generating your business. People will think of you when you're actually looking for the service that you're offering. So get those testimonials, get video testimonials. We've got video testimonials on our YouTube channel, on our website. Make sure you use them. You can record it, ask a customer to record a video testimonial on a mobile phone. That's how we've got ours through, and they can just record a 30-second video testimonial and you can use it. Very simple to do, costs nothing. Next tip, tip number 5. Offer some money back guarantees. Make a show of the guarantee that you offer. Now, most of this is actually implicit in what you actually do anyway, because it'll be implicit in sales law or whatever, or customer services. But use that. So, for instance, you say, well, you can return any item within 60 days. Well, they've probably got 30 days or 28 days or whatever the law is to be able to return it anyway. So if you say, well, I've got 60 days, fantastic. Or if you're not completely satisfied, we guarantee a refund. You probably want to give that refund anyway. You don't want dissatisfied customers coming around and bad-mouthing your business. Just remember that sometimes if you've if you've had a customer who's had a bad experience, turn it around to your advantage and do everything you can to make sure that that bad experience turns into a good one. So say, yeah, the customer might turn around and say, yeah, it didn't quite work out, but what they did to put it right was fantastic. And then you can use that to your advantage. I know certain the pizza delivery companies use the guarantee that if it didn't arrive with a certain time frame, you could have your meal for free. Again, there's all sorts of guarantees that you can actually give out and offer to make you stand out and say, all right, yeah, I prefer to use you over the competition because of that. Tip number 6, potentially have a look at hiring a marketing person. Now, it doesn't have to be full time, but get somebody who's experienced. But marketing is actually for everyone in your business. Now, we have an outsourced marketing person as well who we use to do various pieces of marketing for us because we can't do it all, and it's not that expensive. It's something that you might want to consider if you're looking to grow your business and looking to get your name out there. You might want some help with your website and search engine optimization. You might want help with giving stuff out on LinkedIn and Twitter, YouTube, all the various social media platforms, which you might not be able to operate yourself. Consider hiring somebody and raising your profile by doing that. And you may need someone, again, to coordinate all the activities. But then again, they don't have to be full-time or part-time. Implementing an effective marketing program involves a lot of effort, but much of the work is repetitive and can be systemized. And the sort of thing I can show you, if I've got it on my desk here, is that we actually have a marketing schedule as to what we actually do. And this is actually all the days, if you can see that, all the days with all the months on, and we have all our marketing activity planned out for the rest of the year. And it's something that doesn't take a huge amount of effort, but can actually reap big rewards. Okay, run seminars and run webinars. Seminars and webinars are a great way to attract new customers and also enforce relationship with your existing customers. That's one of the reasons why we run these webinars. We've been running these since lockdown. It was a great way to communicate with all our clients and potential new customers as well. Try and target the audience, get in guest speakers. We've got a guest speaker turning up in 3 weeks' time because we don't know everything. We want to try and make it a lot more general rather than just accountancy speak. Run joint seminars as we're doing. An ideal length of a webinar is 30 to 45 minutes. I'd never run a webinar before on my own until lockdown had happened. And it's one of those things we thought, just do it. And I'm sure in your business, there's some things you want to get over to your clients, to your existing customers, and potential customers as well. And then it can be used as a marketing material. You can record it, you can send it out, your customers can use it, and so on. These are all cost free. We don't charge anything for these. It's just time. And if you're doing an in-person event, we've done in-person events as well previously, provide some sort of refreshments and so on. Now, I've said at the last point here, become an expert in your field. Well, it doesn't take much to actually become an expert. Someone once told me that to be an expert, you only need to know 3% more than anybody else on a particular subject. So make yourself an expert on certain things. Niche, if you've got a niche product or niche marketing area, you're the expert in that area. And what you might think is obvious is unknown to somebody else. So it doesn't take actually much to become an expert. We've also run podcasts. We do podcasts as well. It takes a little bit more time and effort. There's some on our website or on our YouTube channel already. But again, it's all part of this marketing material. You've then created your own content to be able to go out and get new business, generate new business, use it to contact potential clients and so on. And this is an old favourite, but is still extremely relevant today, and even more so now where there's so much competition out there, there's so much pressure, so much influences on our business, outside influences on our business, that we need to do and have a look at what we do. So briefly on the strengths, what are we actually good at? what are our unique skills and where do we outperform our competitors? Have a look at all of those points, because those are the points you want to emphasize. And then have a look at what are we really poor at? What resources are we short of? So you can identify and maybe go out and get some more resource. And where are we at a competitive disadvantage? If you can highlight those areas, you might end up by turning around a disadvantageous position into a positive position, maybe a poorly performing service into a profit performing service. And then have a look at opportunities. How could we improve our sales? How can we improve our efficiency? What new products, services, niche markets could be added? Again, this is sort of stuff we touch on. It's all interlinked with planning. What other products can we offer? What potential income can we get from those products? What's the time scale for actually getting those products to market? How much investment of those products is required? All down to planning as well. And then have a look at threats. What regulations are changing? Is there anything that potentially affects you? We're talking now about making tax digital. This is a massive change coming forward, which will affect everybody in the medium term. We've got to gear up for that. We've got to put our resources into the right areas. Is there anything in your business which affects the way you actually operate? Have a look at what products and services are losing demand. Maybe there's no longer a demand for certain products that you're offering. So you might need to diversify away from that and look at different other products. What resources are difficult to find? There's a lot of that at the moment, which is causing price increases. And what are our competitors doing? You always need to know what's out there in the marketplace. So as you can see, looking at us doing a SWOT analysis, you might not have done one for a while. It's well worth having a look at and well worth having a go at your business. Again, if you want help with this or want to talk anything through, please feel free just to drop us a line. Tip number 9, develop referrals and introductions. Certainly with an accountancy business, referrals, and any service business really, referrals are the lifeblood of a successful business. And there's no better way of building sales than by increasing referrals, and they're the leading source of new business. We actually identify ourselves as where the business comes from, and most of it is coming from recommendations. Very interesting survey was done a few years ago in the accountancy market, and I'm sure it happens in other markets as well. Is clients were asked, if you were to recommend, would you recommend your accountant to somebody else? And something like 85% of people said, yeah, we'd love to refer our accountant to somebody else. And the second question was, well, has your accountant asked you to refer? And 94% said, no, no one's ever asked me to refer. And I'm sure that's a similar result will come across everywhere else. So if you're asking for referrals, you're actively going out and trying to get them, or you could create some sort of referral system to generate more referrals, you're going to be ahead of the game, because by the research that we've seen, that not many people are actually doing it. Never ever say that you're busy. I told this to our team here, and I'd say it to everybody else as well. Never actually tell any of your customers that you're busy. You might say it internally, but never say it to your customers. Why? Because if you say that to a customer, they're going to turn around and say, well, actually, if you're too busy, I'm not going to refer any work to you anyway, or you're too busy to do my work, I'm obviously not as important enough for you, or you've obviously got so much other stuff on, I'll have to wait, and so on. And it doesn't give the right impression. You can come up with plenty of other terms that say, yeah, business is good, we're always looking for more, business is great, we're ploughing on with lots of stuff that we're doing, we're expanding into doing this, whatever. But try and stay away from actually saying that you're busy. So have a think about it. How can you actually get more referrals? Use your whole team to get referrals. Everyone in your organization should be looking to get referrals, because they are an ambassador for your business. So you can go out and get this business. They're all going to help you to go and get it. And finally for today, tip number 10, and I've saved the best one till last for obvious reasons: get a good advisor. And a good accountant and a lawyer will worth their weight. You need to get close to them. We need to understand your business. You need to make sure that we understand your business. We want to get under the skin of your business to understand exactly what's going on. because we see businesses for a whole range of sectors. We've got hundreds of clients, and we can pick and choose what's good out of certain clients and maybe pass on that to other clients, as long as they're not competitors. So we can say, right, well, they're doing this and this really works for them. Have you thought of doing it this way? And we're here, we've got this knowledge built up over 30 years of experience in my case and more, of what other accountants are doing, what other businesses are doing, what other service industries are doing, what manufacturing industries are doing, and how they've actually made it. So pick our brains, feel free to come on board. We're more than happy to discuss your business with you and chat about how we can improve things. Again, get a good lawyer as well, because there's going to be a time when you're going to need some legal advice for whatever it might be, whether it's just renewing your lease, or you wanting to get rid of some staff, or you're wanting to hire some staff. Or you've got a trade issue, or you've got a dispute with somebody. Get somebody who understands you, who is always accessible, and make sure they're proactive. I hope you think that we are a proactive firm of chartered accountants. We're doing all this stuff. We're sending out loads of information for free. We've got all these webinar series. We've got your YouTube podcast, etc., etc. So we're being very proactive. We're sending out newsletters. We have our business club lunches. We've got one coming next week. If you're interested in coming, just get in touch. And make sure everything gets done on time. Yes, everyone has backlogs at some point or other, but make sure you get it when you want it. So get a good advisor. Those are my top 10 tips for today. There's plenty more that we could do. There's plenty more stuff that we can actually run through. But each of these tips will help you grow in business. You don't need to use all of them at once. You can take your time and try not to do everything at once. Use one at a time. Or if you've got something you're not sure about, get in touch and give us a shout. We'd happily chat to you. Has anybody got any questions, or anybody want to unmute yourself and ask any questions before we actually finish for today? I'm happily taking on, or if you want to wait until the recording has finished, stay on the line and I'll happily talk to you offline as well, if anybody's got any questions at all. No? Okay, we've got nothing in the chat box either. That's great. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Can you please pass on and ask other people to join us on this on these webinars? You've seen the sort of series that we've got. We've seen what's coming up next. If you think anybody else can benefit from what we're offering, we'd be delighted to help them. That's me asking for referrals. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you shortly.